Before we get into this new episode of the Empty Netters Playoff Podcast, we're going to hear from our presenting sponsors, Labatt Blue Light. We've talked about this before, guys, and there is no question left that the best beer to drink at any time, frankly, but especially while watching some playoff hockey, is Labatt Blue Light. This stuff is the finest, crispest Canadian Pilsner you will ever taste. It looks good, it tastes good, and it pairs perfectly when you're sitting down watching some Stanley Cup puck.
My favorite part about it is it's got a little bit of Canadian kindness in it, which makes it go down all the sweeter for me, Dan. I love a kind person. I love a kind beer.
It's so true. And there's no one kinder than Canadians. So it makes sense that a beer brewed right in Canada is going to have that Canadian kindness in every single sip. Guys, the Stanley Cup playoffs only come around every so often. You got to enjoy every single game from puck drop to the final whistle. And the best way to do that is while sipping down on a nice, delicious Labatt Blue Light. They've also got some of the best swag in the game.
Oh my God, dude. It is the talk of the office.
It's ridiculous. The Labatt Blue swag and merch is so fire, and it makes sense because it's just as good as the beer itself. So guys, crack open a cold one, sit back, enjoy some hockey, enjoy the Empty Netters podcast while drinking a Labatt Blue Light. All right, folks, we're back for another episode. During the playoffs, we're ripping the Vegas-Edmonton game right now. Vegas has jumped out to a huge 4-1 lead. Jack Eichel just put a defenseman on fucking skates, started him inside out like a goddamn Christmas tree. I don't know what.
Play the clip. Play the clip.
Yeah.
What clip?
I'm rolling your reaction.
Yeah, we're going to get that.
Yeah.
We're going to get that cut up. Whoa.
Huge 2-on-1.
He fell, dude.
Oh, my God.
And
Jack Eichel, another goal.
And Jack, dude. And he fell.
Thank
and
God.
Jack, goal and assist, just like I told you. That's what Jack does.
That's 2 goals and an assist.
No, I think he got an assist on the other one.
So it's a goal and 2 assists?
No, I think he's just got a goal and assist.
I think-
Look at this spill, dude. Watch this.
Thank God we cut it off at 72.
Oh my God, dude. You cannot fall there while
And then
pivoting.
Jesus. Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel has entered the chat. He's lost his mind.
Oh, yes.
That's true. No, it's like truly Jack Eichel just put a defenseman in the upside down, came down, cheesed, 4-1 lead. Things look bleak for the Oilers after a huge response in Game 2. But we're going to get into all the games now. We had a psychotic weekend of playoff hockey.
Dude,
Truly psychotic.
Lot of action yesterday.
Lot of action. Emily, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I will call you out, though, because I heard, I don't know if it was because he listened to the podcast or not, but I got called out in the morning meeting, though, this morning for not knowing what an empty net goal was.
Oh, that's definitely not me. Someone just listened to the pod.
Yeah.
Who called you out?
Kenward.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it wasn't, let me defend myself, though. It wasn't that
Emily, I don't think that there's any defense here. You are the producer of a hockey podcast called
Let me
Empty
say
Netters.
I understand. I know that an empty net goal is when you score a goal in an empty net. However, I didn't know that you can remove a goalie from the game if you're losing.
How would you get an empty netter otherwise?
I assumed that, like, if you're
thinking like the goalie like slid out of the net or something?
No, like, you know how sometimes in soccer, like, if
Keep trying.
Keep
going.
Yeah.
I think this happens in soccer. When I used to play soccer when I was little, I don't know, it was a long time ago. But you know how in soccer, if, all the players on the opposite side of the field, the goalie comes up?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like you were saying, like,
I'm
there's a play where the
thinking-
goalie has come out of the net, is like trying to play a puck or something like that.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
That's basically what they do. They just
But they're not. No, they're not there.
they let a goalie. They let
they
a player come
remove
out.
them from the game. That's
Yeah.
so different.
Yeah, it's way different.
Which is like
I appreciate you
unheard
trying to
of.
be nice right there, but it is not basically what they do at all.
Well, it's exactly what they would do if the goalie wasn't in all his gear. Like if the goalie was just in
hold
regular
on.
shit, they'd be like,
what
go up
Chris
and play.
is thinking is a play where there's a corner kick and the keeper in soccer.
That's what she said.
Goes all the way up to play,
Yeah.
and then that is like the extra attacker element. But yeah, no, the goalie goes right on the bench. Extra player comes out.
Chet said he didn't know what it was either.
Yeah, well, that makes sense for Chet.
But I would like to apologize. I am ashamed.
I respect the
But, like,
ownership you're taking, but I don't
know
think you
what
should be
the
ashamed.
empty net, like, You know what? At
Emily,
least I thought I knew what it was.
Don't try to defend yourself by saying you know what an empty net is, because that's like, of course,
I mean,
know.
obviously, like an empty net shot, by definition, is when you score in an empty net.
Yeah, it's true.
I just didn't know like the backstory behind.
You didn't know what pulling the goalie is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But now you do.
I'm learning
that's a good
so
one.
much. I also learned today what the word roll. How did you?
Roll, like a role player or.
Yeah. Why?
On a
How is
roll.
there? Oh, yeah. Roll. What? Can you just explain what a role player is?
A role player would be best described as a player who is on the team and is expected to do a certain thing on the ice. Like
Oh, so he has a certain role.
Yeah, he's like a grinder. Yeah.
Okay.
He's not a star player. He's a role player.
Yeah. You guys should create an NHL
A
dictionary.
hockey dictionary.
There's got to be one out there.
There's tons.
Yeah,
there's
there's a
tons
bunch.
online.
But I Googled the word role player and it didn't show up.
Interesting.
I look shit up before I ask.
I'm proud of you.
I do that.
I am. So many people don't do that. It drives me insane.
I don't want to make your life more difficult. I also don't want to sound stupid. So.
That's my
actually
biggest fear. I always look shit
I think
up.
I'd rather like send the clip and make it look like I know what I'm doing rather than ask.
Everyone's like,
Yeah.
damn.
I think
Yeah.
it's smart. I like that move.
Like when I spell players' names right.
It's
Or
so
you
lit.
like how I
Snipe.
threw the coach in there and like
Yeah,
you
that
have
was
to
really
ask
good.
about it.
I was really when I
Yeah.
saw the clip and you threw up a picture.
They were talking about a coach. I threw in the picture of the coach, and it was like a last name. Like, they didn't say, "Oh, this coach." They just go, "Oh, he plays like this guy," and I'm like, oh, but it was like there was no context, so I figured it out. And
It was
I'm a
great.
Genius, so.
Yes, look at that. She was down low with the empty net things, and now we're back up high. Before we get into the games, talk quickly about Connor Bedard.
Yes, draft lottery was tonight, and it was rigged from the very beginning. It's been rigged for months, and it pisses me off, dude.
Dude, it is just, first of all, no offense, ESPN, what a dog shit coverage that was of the draft lottery. It was like an afterthought. It's quick. It's 10 minutes. But there was just zero pageantry, intrigue, entertainment. It was just, holding up your card and with the 14th pick in the draft lottery. And then it would cut to these zooms of the different GMs around the league looking so bored and
butthurt.
dejected. It was just terrible. Weeksy was doing his very best to make it entertaining. And, what can you possibly do?
That is not a penalty.
Did they just call that on
It's
Aiden
called
Hill?
Jack for interference, even though all he did was pin his stick down and then get run in.
Yeah, it's a terrible call. But we get the draft lottery results here. And again, let's not even get into the Blackhawks part of it yet. But we get down to the final three, and it cuts to commercial, and Weeksy goes, all right, so we have our first mix-up here with Columbus getting the third, so it's between Chicago and Anaheim, and we didn't see that on the TV, which reeks of collusion.
Dude, and then it comes back, and it goes, okay, so 3 teams left. Good luck to Anaheim, Chicago, and Columbus, as if the whole world doesn't know that Columbus is already out.
Yeah. And
And-
poor Columbus getting the shaft again.
And there was, and I think I do have. Oh wow, I think I do have this on video somewhere. We didn't post it, but I'll have to check. When it put up the teams, Dan, 1 through 16, it had the list and it had their number next to all of them, and then it would kind of gray out as they came through. When it came back, and Columbus went to 3, Anaheim still had the one next to it. but
Chicago had a star, on it.
next
Yeah,
to it. And
also
I was like,
sketchy.
"Ooh, Gino."
Ooh, 4-on-4 Gino for Vegas. Unbelievable.
And maybe that was just because they were like, "Oh, Chicago has officially moved up." Like that's what the star meant. But I was like, "What tomfoolery is going on
there was
here?"
ballyhoo
Yeah.
going on in that draft lottery. And here's the deal. Here's the
Oh, I'm
deal.
sorry, what?
Ballyhoo. It was
Is
ridiculous.
that a word?
Yes.
Yes.
And tomfoolery and ballyhoo.
It is the second that they announced that Columbus was third. It was we were all like this. Oh my
Okay,
God,
so Chicago.
Chicago has it. And when they flipped that card over and it's the Blackhawks, dude, here's what I have to say about this. Chicago, you're an amazing city. You're an amazing franchise. We loved the last 20 years of Kane and Taves, Sharp, Keith, Seabrook, all the boys, Hossa. Amazing stuff. Good stuff. The really shitty stuff that has gone on with the Blackhawks of the last couple of years with the beach situation is so abhorrent and awful. And in my opinion, you have not paid the piper yet. You have a couple of bad years. Like, no, dude, you do not get granted with Connor Bedard after that just really ugly stuff from a franchise. It's disgusting and it's pathetic. So I don't like that part of it, first of all. Second of all, is Connor Bedard going to look awesome in a Blackhawk sweater? Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't wait. I hope Patrick Kane resigns.
Me too. I want to get to that in a second.
I hope he comes home. I think that the Ducks, while they have disgustingly ugly sweaters, are a fun team. I think they're a cool franchise. I think the fans have fun down there. I think the players love living in Orange County. And I think watching Connor Bedard play with Trevor Zegras and Troy Terry would have been an absolute blast. And I'm kind of bummed.
I'm extremely bummed. I said on the pod that that was my pick. I wanted him to go to Anaheim. I felt like it was right there for the taking. And I think in terms of the beach situation, it would have, I'd be less bothered.
I am unbothered.
I'd be unbothered if it wasn't Bedard year. Like if this was just last year and Chicago got it, even on the heels of the beach situation, I would be like, wow, I'm not sure they paid the price, but they had a bad team and they got the pick. The balls bounced their way. Mm-hmm. But that because it's Bedard makes it extra annoying. And dude, you had said this. Orange County's a sick place. They waved it off. Tough call, I feel like, but whatever. That's a fun place to live. Pop down to
it's a blast.
Pop down to Orange County, dude. Have a great time. I think he would really enjoy that weather. And then lastly, dude, the Ducks, people forget. The Ducks got fucked in the Crosby sweepstakes too. Maybe fuck's the wrong word, but like the Ducks drew the short straw.
That is crazy. They're calling that, I'm sorry to interrupt you. They're calling that on Martinez.
Yeah.
That's a wild goalie interference call to keep Edmonton in this game.
Especially because they're about to be on the power play in 20 seconds, which means it's an auto goal, and then now it's 4-2. And
that is a wild call. Oh, here's Roy again. Oh my gosh, wow. That is unbelievable. Holy shit.
Puck don't lie, dude.
Goal gets called back. That is a puck don't lie moment. Goal gets called back for goal interference. Roy comes in down the wing, who just had the goal.
He knows. He gets it.
Dishes it over to Chandler Stevenson, and they tuck it right back in. That is insane.
Woo! I love a Vegas. With an Vegas faithful with Elvis Sideburns living in Edmonton.
That's
a nice little finish.
Great finish and great sauce from, look at this.
Oh, and deflected and off the pop, dude, for the fellas. Wow.
That's beautiful.
That was really nice. Lastly, people forget that the Ducks drew the short straw in the Crosby sweepstakes, dude. They didn't get fucked by any means. Like they got fucked this year, it feels like. But I just
think
got
our
if you're
boy Bobby, though.
I know, and they're going to get our boy Adam Fantilli, and that's also sick.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, it's insane to me that you can feel one team away from Crosby and Bedard and get neither.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is franchise-altering shit, dude. Like, they did the whole thing with the Penguins this year of like, this is the first time the Penguins have picked in the top 15 in fucking 20 years.
Yeah.
Because of Sid. And, like, the Ducks had that on the table twice.
Yeah.
And get buried both times.
I'd say, let's call it in the last 30 years, we have had 3 very clear and definitive sweepstakes in the draft lottery. And that is Crosby, McDavid, and now Connor Bedard. It feels slightly suspicious that when there's teams like the Pittsburgh Penguins with Mario Lemieux at the helm, and then the Chicago Blackhawks, who do not have the highest lottery chances, they both somehow jump the Ducks and end up with these guys. It feels slightly suspicious.
It's like if I was doing a lottery and I was like this, the winner is my friend. And then the next pick, the winner is my other friend. Every time, dude.
It just, I don't know, man. I don't hate it. I don't like it, though. It feels a little shady. But to your point, I do want to, I want to stress to Ducks fans. Ducks fans, listen to us right now. Any other year, when this mutant Connor Bedard isn't in the draft, you would be over the moon to have Adam Fantilli.
Yeah.
That kid is a fucking gamer. He's an unbelievable hockey player. He's a complete hockey player, and he is ready to play right now. He is ready to do very well right now, and he's going to look fantastic with Trevor Zegras. So be very excited about that.
Ask Merles about it, dude.
Merles knows.
You got the guy.
Merles knows. All right, let's jump into some of these playoff series, eh?
Yes, but do you think Kane goes back?
I can't say. I would be... It's a great question.
I think he does.
You're coming in hot with a good question. Because here's how I feel. Part of me thinks, like we talked about earlier in the season, you were like, I don't think he gets traded because I think they're going to get Bedard. And
he's like, that would be more fun.
I'd love to play with him.
Do.
If I'm being honest, dude, I'm not sure that a 34-year-old Patrick Kane, is that how old he is?
35, I think.
Emily, can you look that up? How old is Patrick
Kane?
Kane?
He's an 88, so he's...
Let's call him 35. I'm not so sure that a 35-year-old Patrick Kane is
34.
34. I'm not so sure that he's like, I got to play with Connor Bedard. I got to play with an 18-year-old. I'm really not. I don't. Obviously, he's a phenomenal player, but Shane Wright is a phenomenal player. And,
yeah,
he played less than 20 NHL games this season.
I think
shit can happen. So there's a part of me that's like, yeah, he obviously loves Chicago. He's played his entire career there up until this latter half of the season and the playoffs. Could I see him being like, yeah, I'll go right back to Chicago? Of course I could. I don't know that playing with a unproven rookie who is obviously a phenom and I think will be fantastic. I'm not sure if that alone is enough, but if there aren't enough things to entice him elsewhere, then yeah, I could totally see it because he knows he likes Chicago.
Yep,
but he also knows he's 34,
and he's cup hunting.
And he's cup hunting. I think he wants another kick at it. And if I'm him, do I go back to the Rangers? No, I really don't, dude. You just fired your coach. It's like that did not go well, and I don't know. Maybe I look a little north in New York.
Yeah, for an upstart team.
Maybe there's like a team with like a ton of cap space. And maybe you take a little discount. Maybe you sign a 2x10. Leave enough of that cap room for a great goalie, even though they already have it.
Yeah, we're good, dude.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
I just think maybe he goes to Buffalo. I would. If I were Patrick Kane, I would sign with Buffalo tonight.
Okay. I think there's a non-0% chance that he goes back to Chicago because I do think that would be fun. But I largely agree with you that they are just not as good as I think Connor Bedard is going to be. They are not a cup threat for the next 2 years.
No, they are absolutely not. They need so much work, dude. There's no one on that team.
Which is exciting though.
Yeah,
maybe they're like
sign a bunch of people.
Fucking fantasy draft a bunch of guys and we'll see what's up.
Yeah.
So it's a non-0% chance, but unless they become cup ready.
God, dude, that makes it all the more sketchy too.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
They've got no one rostered on that team. They've got more cap space than anyone else in the league. And now they just somehow get the first pick. Like that, the Connor Bedard of it all is going to make a ton of UFAs, I'm sure, be like this. Oh, yeah, if they come calling, I'll come. Oh, man. Crazy. All right, let's get into some playoff series. Take me away.
All right, we're going to start with the Spunks versus the Stars.
We've completely renamed them. They're not the Seattle Kraken anymore. They're the Seattle Spunks.
As they should be.
Correct.
During our last record, the Stars evened it up. At one apiece. They won 4-2 at home. They had a ton of shots. Pav scored again. Sagan scored again. I thought Otter looked really good.
Yeah, he did.
25 saves, 27 shots. Dallas dominated at the faceoff dot. I know people don't really care about that, but they won 69%. 69% of the draws, which is redonkulous in an NHL game. Like, literally, dude, one team winning 7 out of 10 draws is appalling. So, they were all over puck possession. They went 1 for 3 on the power play, but that first Wyatt Johnson goal, if you remember, came with like 1 second after the power play expired. So essentially 2 for 3. We kept saying that's what won them the series against the Wild. Can Seattle contain this new power play? So Dallas gets their 2 for 3 goals there. Then game 3, dude.
What a wild game.
All-you-can-spunk buffet.
It was an all-you-can-spunk buffet. However, it was a bizarre game. I think Seattle came out super hot. We posted a clip today just talking about how balanced that team is, and they were really doing that in this game. They came out flying. I thought the stretch passes for Seattle were firing all day. It was crazy. They were stretching the ice. They were getting pucks in deep so brilliantly well. But I thought Otter actually stood tall in the beginning of the game. He had a great first period.
Great first period.
He played so well in that first period. He stopped a ton of huge high danger chances. And then you get into the second, and just a bizarre play, shot from the point, deflects, hits Heiskanen in the face, and then credit to him, Eberle, insane poise in front of the net to pull that puck back and score. And from there, it was over, dude. Like, after that, it was just crazy shit that was going on. The Wenberg play, like we talked about, the stretch passes, was such a direct result for that goal. But then I thought, really, that Soucy's goal.
Yeah, the third one.
Coming in from the point, really not doing that much, but just throws a quick little shot, and the 5-hole goes in on Otter. That was the first one where I was like, ooh, you don't look good, Otter. You really do not look good. And then he let in another one on Beniers.
Maddie's next one. Yeah.
No screen, just like these weird sort of handcuffy goals that's like, it looks like they're guessing wrong. It just looked like he wasn't seeing the puck. And on the other side of that, Grubauer had x-ray vision in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, he was making those saves that just look so calm and poised. And yeah, Otter, eventually got the yank, but this is the worst he's looked all playoffs.
Yep. And so I am so with you that the game was confusing because Seattle outplayed Dallas in the first period. And then in the second period, even after that goal went in, Dallas outshot Seattle 17-8 or whatever it was in the second period. They were all over Seattle in the second period. And you look up and the buzzer goes off and it's 5-1 Spunk. And I'm like, wait, dude, what the fuck is happening? They got 8 shots scored on fucking 5 of them. Otter gets pulled, like you said, after taking all 5 on the chin, and it was a game that you go to the locker room as Dallas, like, okay, we shouldn't be out of this, but we kind of are. And they proved to be 7-2 finish. Do you, and I will add too, to Seattle's credit, Dallas had, I wrote it down, I think 4 shots in the first and 5 in the third. So first and third, they played excellent. Obviously they got piped with 17 shots in the second period, but first and third, they were all over them. Otter, dude, after really coming alive, and I don't think Otter was bad in any game against Minnesota, but after really coming alive in the back half of that series, we were like, oh shit, there's Otter. He has played not good in 2 games. And he played great in game 2, but he played not good in game 1 and not good in this game. I respect the pull.
Which is such a factor, man.
Dude.
It's like we said it. It's almost like with Dallas specifically, it's always a goalie matchup. If Otter's playing, you will lose. It's how it feels, like as in the other team.
Yeah.
And it's look at that. You're playing the Seattle Spunk, dude, and you have 2 kind of shitty games from Otter, and no doubt you're down 2-1.
So if they had even if they'd lost, if Dallas had lost game 1 but lost like 2-1 or whatever, and Otter played great, and then he played great in a win in game 2. If this game happened exactly how it happened, and he gets yanked, I would be sitting here being like, expect a huge bounce back from Otter. He's going to be dialed in. He's going to be so pissed, coming back with a vengeance. But I'm curious, since he didn't play that well in game 1, how sure I can be with that take. What do you think? Do you think Otter comes back game 4 absolutely locked, shutout? Or am I like, dude, you are a little loose here in this series?
I don't think he comes back shut up, but I think Otter responds. And he responded in game 2.
Yep.
And I think he will respond. That's not to say Dallas wins for sure.
Right.
But Otter ain't no chump, dude.
No.
He's not going to come out and get, pinballed again. He's going to do what he does, and he's going to have a good game.
Jared McCann skated on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a big factor for Seattle. It's always tough to shake off the rust after an injury like that, especially a head injury that rattles you up. But you throw McCann back into this lineup, and he slides right back in.
They had their top scorer, dude. That's scary as fuck.
That is scary as fuck, man.
Here's the thing. Obviously, like you just said, this is a head injury, so it's not like a pain tolerance thing where I'm like, oh, McCann, can you go? It's a conky. So it's like, dude, the docs tell you when you can go, and that's it, full stop. You are either medically cleared or you are not. It's not a coach's decision. It's not McCann's decision. It is a doctor's decision. That being said, one thing that Seattle is buying for themselves by winning these games and staying ahead of the series is that buying time for McCann. Because if you're down 2-1 right now, you're like, fuck, I need him back.
Come back.
Up 2-1, you're like, okay, dude, I hope you play, but get ready.
You're always curious with McCann, because with Conkeys, it's like, you obviously got to be careful with those, but it's either... Dude, I do not feel good. I'm dizzy. Like when I skate and I get up, that heart rate goes up. I don't feel well. That is scary shit. And you're like, don't push it. But there's also the ones where you're like, I'm fucking fine, dude. I was fine right after.
Yeah.
Let me get back in, and you're just waiting for the doctor to clear you. McCann's injury was a little scary, so we'll see. But I'm curious, because if he's feeling good, if he's feeling fresh as lettuce, he's back on the ice. And I don't expect him to miss a step, dude. Because like you said, it's not a body injury that's going to change the way you skate or way you play. I think McCann will jump right back in.
This will be cool for Seattle because what did the Colorado series go? Do you remember? It was 1-1 in Colorado. Like they split the first two. And then did Seattle win game 3 or did they drop game 3 and then tie it at 2?
I don't remember.
I think they dropped game 3. Everyone can check me on that, but I'm pretty sure they dropped game 3. But this will be a cool moment if I'm right, because it's an interesting opportunity for them you have a throat step chance.
Yeah.
You're at home, end the series, dude.
Yeah, absolutely do. And to that point, I think this game is must win for Dallas. If you drop this game for Dallas, the series is over. I'm telling you that right now.
Wow. Like that take.
I think this is a huge must win game.
We put on Twitter that it was going to go Seattle, Dallas, Seattle, Dallas, Dallas, Seattle, Seattle, Spunk in 7. Still on pace for that so far.
We sure are.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
What I want to say about Dallas to you is something we found ourselves saying halfway through round 1. Where's Robo? Guy hasn't scored since Game 5 in Minnesota. He doesn't have a point in this series. There's been 10 goals scored by the Stars. He doesn't have a point.
He looked visibly frustrated on the ice too. He's forcing shots. He's trying to get to the net, and it's not working. He needs to find his game again. And I think he can.
Me too.
And I think, frankly, he will. But yeah, that's something that's got to switch up here quick.
We said a while ago, he was sick last year, dude. He was a 70-whatever point guy. But he leveled up so aggressively this year that your team becomes reliant on that in a way. You're the identity of the team.
100%.
And he has to find a way to contribute. And you're right. He's not invisible. Like, sometimes these stars go invisible. And I'm like, you are doing nothing. He is getting involved. He's trying to get pucks through, trying to get it do his job, contribute in any way he can, but eventually just has to start showing up if they're going to hang.
100%. All right, moving on to the Devils-Canes series. Devils sticking to their script. Lose 5-1, lose 6-1.
Yeah.
And
I was worried. I was like, oh, you a little off script here, boys.
Whoa, we went a little too far there.
Fucking improv.
They are getting dominated in those first 2 games, but then they come home to the Prue, and boy, oh boy, did they put on a show.
They saved the season.
That was the drunkest hockey game of the playoffs, I think. It was.
It really was.
An 8-4 drubbing. All the guys on the Devils are clicking. Timo Meier gets on the board finally.
Ching.
Nico Hischier gets on the board finally.
Ching.
Luke Hughes inserted into the lineup. 2 assists and an immediate win.
2 apples.
Got 2.
The little Smurf Luke Hughes.
2 apples. Unbelievable stuff from the Devils. Big response, but a lot of factors in this game.
Here's what I loved about it. I love that you're getting 7 scores. I love all these guys are getting on the board. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Luke up, contributing. His speed a factor right away.
Absolutely.
I love that Jack has 2 and looks like a fucking psychopath out there.
I've got a lot to say about Jack.
First one was like that semi one-timer because it got deflected, but that semi one-time shelf daddy.
What do you mean semi one?
Well, because it got tipped. It wasn't clean. It like sat there for a second.
The 1T is still clean. The pass got deflected.
Yeah,
but
just
the 1T was clean.
It was just on a tee form.
I don't care where the puck comes from. If he hits it one time, that's a 1T.
Yep. And then his second one is him when he's peak jacking when he's like on the goal line. How many times did we see him score from the goal line this year? And it wasn't his traditional insane snipe. It kind of just fell in, but still, when he's on his bullshit, that's great. I have a quick tangent thing for you. Would love your thoughts. Jack lost a gibber, as we've all seen now.
I hate what you're gonna do here because it's dumb and wrong. But go on.
And I want to start calling him Toothless.
It's close, but that's not what we're calling him.
What do you want to call him?
We're calling him Toothless Jack. We've already put it on the story.
Toothless Jack. All right, I'm gonna call him Toothless for short.
No, Toothless Jack makes him sound like a pirate.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But he is as dangerous as a Night Fury.
No, dude, just like, get out of here with your fucking. And listen, I love How to Train Your Dragon, but if you do one more stupid little like animated cartoon comparison nickname
the
thing,
other one?
Ahsoka.
Oh,
I'm gonna fucking throw you in a river, dude. I'm gonna
It's Star
throw
Wars,
you,
dude.
I'm gonna throw you in the Hudson River when
But
we
I
go
just-
to New Jersey tomorrow.
I wanted to call Luke Hughes Hiccup though. 'Cause
I
he's
know,
this little
that-
guy. He's this little guy. Who's
He's
like,
not a little guy. He's over 6 feet tall, and he's a great
he's
hockey.
so scrawny. Hiccup's tall. He's just
Hiccup is kind of tall. We're not doing that. He's Toothless Jack, and it's amazing.
Luke. Maybe Luke will be Hiccup. Jack can be Toothless Jack.
How long does it normally take for them to like get another tooth?
To grow a new tooth.
Yeah,
No.
new teeth take a couple months to grow back. Actually,
No, I'm just because I know some people leave it there for a while.
Yeah, it's-
especially like during the season. Do they feel like there's no point of?
So it depends what you want to do. It also depends on the tooth break. So Jack didn't have a full root break. Jack broke about 3/4 of the way through his tooth. So he is either going to get a cap, which is what I have, and
Hockey.
and you just get a fake tooth grafted to the part of your tooth that's still alive and
Yeah.
like in your mouth. But if it breaks the root, or when it gets knocked out, the root gets like damaged and knocked out, you have to go in, get it all pulled out, which is like really annoying, long, and complicated and painful. And then you get a implant stuck in, like
Yeah.
a little screw, and then
Yeah.
a fake tooth gets put right around that implant.
but usually when they're playing still, like you can get like a little retainer like thing that just like sticks a tooth in there.
He
So
will
for
get-
pictures or whatever.
He will get an insert.
Usually they get those during their career because they're like, why would I pay for the fucking screw and the whole thing when
Just
it
to
can
get them knocked out.
knocked out again in 2 years? So usually when they're playing, they just leave it out for their,
Do you think
10
he'll
years.
leave it out for the rest of the playoffs?
He said
fuck
in an
yeah.
interview, they were like, "You gonna leave it? You look." Biz was like, "You look badass," and he's like, "No, I don't like that. I don't have that. I lost my jib, but yeah." So I think he's gonna.
Did he actually use that word?
He sure did.
Is that why you use that word?
I didn't. I'd never heard it from him, but jibs is like a hockey thing.
So that's why you use that word.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were asking is it because of Jack is why I use it. But
No, no, no.
yeah, jibs is a hockey thing.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a you thing.
No, I'm not that
Damn.
creative.
Ruined it.
So those are the things that I like. What the thing I don't like is that the Canes scored 4 goals.
So I got to take on this. I really
shit.
appreciate you saying that. Ooh, Chandler Stevenson just went to the locker room. Hate to see it. I really appreciate you bringing that up. I think it's good to note because there were a couple times you said it never really got that close, but it also wasn't that far away. 5-2, that's a hockey game. And then it was
7-4,
7-4,
7-4, and I was
they
like,
scored the
chill.
4th, and it was like, oh, okay. The 3 shorthanded goals
Yeah,
is preposterous.
preposterous.
That will not happen again. I think the Devils, like I said, dude, I said a couple episodes ago, this Devils team is a bunch of drunk kids just having fun. And I think a lot of those shorties were just really dumb, sloppy play because they had a 3-4 goal lead multiple different times.
Okay.
It doesn't excuse the sloppiness, but at the end of the day, I'm not going into practice today being scared of the fact that we gave up 3 shorthanded goals. That's a PP whack. That's like, dude, what the fuck were you guys doing? But that's not a fundamental, damn, they're getting through to us. This is our game. If those were more 5-on-5 goals, which they've been great, obviously I think they're 1 for 7 on the power play and they had 11 goals in the first 2 games. That means that's a lot of 5-on-5 goals.
Yeah, they've been dominant.
So that if that were the case, if they had 4 more 5-on-5 goals, I would be like, they are still getting to you, dude. So figure it out. So I think it's a great point by you, but I do think the shorties makes it a little less bad. However,
Yeah.
what I do think is an issue is VTech started this game. Ahsoka got sat down after 2 stinkers.
And even I can agree with that.
Yeah, sit him down.
Yeah, he was not seeing it.
Dude, granted, a lot of these goals were odd man rushes or even breakaways. VTech did not look good, dude. Like these goals, we always say, man, if you want to win playoff games, you need to make fucking big boy saves. VTech was not making them. Every time they had a high danger chance, again, granted, usually odd man rushes on these shorthanded situations, but every time VTech was asked to make a big boy save, he didn't.
Yes, dude.
So I'm like, I'm not worried about the shorthanded goals. Those are not going to happen again. You won that game essentially, in my opinion, 8-1. They scored 3 lucky shorthanded goals. Great win. But I am looking at Ahsoka had 2 stinkers. Then you put in Vitek, and he just looked so soft penised all game. And I'm like, you can't feel good about starting him in game 4.
Dude, I completely agree. It is hard to stop a puck when you are just flopped down, hanging to the left, because that is not going to cut
It's
it.
like weirdly stuck to your thigh on a
And
hot
I'll tell you
summer day.
what, Dan, they had to win that game. They had to win that game,
Yep.
so they won. They don't give a shit. But they would so much rather have won that game 3-1 and Vitek stopped 34 of 35
Yes.
and looked awesome than winning 8-4 when he gets cheesed every chance the Canes get. Because even though Ahsoka has been bad in game 1 and 2, Vitek hasn't played good once all playoffs. And Ahsoka touched the fucking sun
Yes.
4 times.
Ahsoka won you the Rangers.
Dude, you were only still playing because of Ahsoka Tano.
We talked about Meyer and Heischer getting their first goals of the playoffs.
Yep.
You're telling me when all of those guys aren't going until game 3 of the second round, you think those are the guys that are getting you here? No, Ahsoka got you here. I hate that I'm fucking calling him Ahsoka.
Dude, and he is an unknown for sure. And it's like, if you're the boys, if you're Lindy Ruff and you're like, who am I starting in game 4? The boys probably are like, well, Vitek got us here all year. So maybe him, and I don't even know who Ahsoka is. But, dude, again, he has done something for you. He is a proven entity in the
Yeah.
playoffs. He flew too close to
100%.
the sun, fine. Now he's playing bad, but at least Icarus flew, dude. Like, I'm not sure I feel good. And I think Ruff goes with Vitek, by the way.
I think you do
Vitek's
because
gonna start.
he's changed the tide. He got a win, and like you said, he got you here this year. Schmid is the better goalie these
Yes.
playoffs. He's obviously 2 brutal games. I almost wonder, do you go into practice and straight up keep a close eye on them and go, which one of you looks stronger?
Yeah.
And I would talk to both of them. I do think the smart thing is going Vitek, but at the same time, if you lose that game when Vitek plays poorly, I go like this, no shit. No shit he played poorly. He's played poorly all playoffs.
And he's only like 2 or 3, but every playoff game of his career. Like, he's been bad in the playoffs every game of his career.
I do want to talk about the Devils, though. They played fantastic. I thought they were flying all over the ice. And the name of the game here for me, for New Jersey in that first period, was puck battles. They were winning puck battles everywhere. Prime example, I think, is that first goal, that Timo Meier goal. Unbelievable work rate by Jack Hughes against Brady Shea behind the net. That was a unreal display of you are outsized beyond belief. But Jack just battled, kept the puck under his center of gravity, got it between his skates, and then one hand batted it backwards to Timo for the tuck. That's just beautiful stuff from Jack. And that leads me into, I want to say, Toothless Jack, man, is becoming a man before our very eyes. I think we have seen him. He's trying everything. We made a ton of jokes. Everyone made jokes about when he flat tired himself, breaking out of the zone against New York. I think that was a direct result of the kid is flying around the ice, just doing everything he can for his team to win. And then we also see it in this series, getting his jib knocked out. And then we see it specifically in this game, throwing hands with Sebastian Aho in a really fun little tilt there. And Jack is in the playoffs, dude.
Yeah.
And he knows it, and he is elevating his game in every single way. It's this stuff, in my opinion, this is Hall of Fame player stuff. This is game changer stuff. You see guys who can do this, turn it on at the right time. It's what separates you from all-stars who never win.
Yep.
It's what separates you from guys, not to shit on our allegiance here, but like, I look at David Pastrnak scoring 60 goals, and then I look at him going complete Casper in the playoffs. And then I look at guys like Matty Tkachuk, and I look at guys like Jack Hughes, who are just doing everything. They're on the stat sheet in 500 different ways. That's the difference. And Jack Hughes is being a difference maker, and it's so fun to see.
After a ton of people were saying that's why the Devils wouldn't succeed in the playoffs, because they didn't have that experience yet. They didn't have that ability. But I agree with you completely. He's showing up. Can we talk Canes?
Absolutely.
Because I think if you're Carolina, you feel fine. Both because you scored, like I said, and because you can win in Jersey. You've been the better 5-on-5 team for the most part. Aho across 11 goals in the first 2 games, had 2 assists. So nice to see him get on the board there. I think Nate just scored again. Like, there's some guys contributing now.
I thought Jarvis had a phenomenal game. Martinuk had a phenomenal game. Their guys are buzzing.
So you feel fine, but
May I?
Yeah.
I don't think you feel fine because you know why? This is the first time in these playoffs you've been spanked. You got your pants pulled down and you got your little pink bottom slapped in this game. And that has not happened. The Islanders did not spank them. This was a spanking.
Yeah. Well, this was a weird one, right? Because I think the Islanders won one game like 4-0 or something like that.
I believe
4-1 maybe.
I believe that this game was, again, you can look at it both ways.
Yeah.
The score line does not represent this game, dude. There was a fucking penalty shot in this game.
It's crazy.
Like, this game was not 8-4. This game was 8-1. The Devils beat the shit out of them. But the Hurricanes are a phenomenal team.
I'm getting some stats.
And they made it hurt a few times.
Yep.
And I think that's huge. So that's why I say I think you're right that they're not scared. But I don't think they feel fine because I think the Devils showed that they can light shit up too.
Yeah. That's for sure.
That is like oh boy. And home ice, dude. I mean,
Yep.
You're playing in the Prue. I think that the Canes are not like, dude, shake that one off, whatever. They're like, oh no, this team can play.
Yeah, it's a series. They
Yes.
know that much for sure. And I think that what I was headed to
They're not
is
scared, but
they're not scared, but they might be scared due to their goalie situation. So you and I have been talking about when Freddie got the start after Ranta had been playing awesome. I was like, oh, that's interesting, but they always have gone through the rotation. So then Freddie plays game one, plays great. The Devils get like 4 shots in that game total, but still, Freddie saved all of them but one, so that's a great game. And then Ranta's supposed to start in game 2 and get right before puck drop, unexpected scratch due to an illness. And then is so sick for game 3, he didn't even dress last night. Now, he skated today, and Rod was like, we don't know, but we're hoping he goes. Now, Freddie hasn't played 4 games in a row all year, dude, and was forced into action in game 3 for his 4th game in a row for the first time, like I said, all season, and gets absolutely piped, is pulled 53 seconds into the second period after getting 4 put past him.
Yeah.
Which means they got to go to their 3rd string guy. And, dude, he is, hold on, let me find his guy, how I say this guy's name again. Kochetkov. Okay, ready? Then they go to their 3rd string guy, Kochetkov, who is, do you remember Marchand almost fought him in the playoffs last year? He almost two-handed him. And he also is the dude who scored that AHL goalie goal this year and had the epic celly. But he comes in and gets 4 put past him immediately.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not sure you're the answer either. And it's not even his fault because he hasn't played in an NHL game in 6 weeks or an AHL game in 4 weeks. Like, literally, they were like, go in and play with fucking Jack
This
Hughes.
guy's just straight up not been playing hockey.
It's ridiculous. So if Ranta is fine, and they're like, oh yeah, sorry, he had a bug. It was like the Bruins locker room bug was going through. He's all good. Game 4, he's dialed back in. Fine. If he is not fine, dude, and you're faced with a very overworked Freddie Anderson or this 3rd string Russian, I'm like this, you might be in a little trouble here.
Oh, yeah,
out of nowhere.
It's-
You might be in a bad situation.
It is not a non-issue. That is for damn sure. That's a big factor. Also, it's funny now to me thinking that the Boston Bruins tried to tell us that Berg had a cold when he had a herniated disc.
Insane. Do you think we had talked about earlier when we were talking about the Wild and that they put in Flower, and you were like, it's crazy because no team, you don't win the cup on a rotation. You just don't do it. It's never really been done. Carolina, from the sounds of it, if you listen to Rod's interviews, they very much intend to run a rotation of Ranta and Freddie, barring any bad injuries. So how do you feel about that? Are you like that, and that is why they're fucked and won't win the cup? Or are you like, no, they could win the cup by just bouncing back and forth with these guys?
I personally hate it. I think there's a reason we've never seen it work. I think that there's a reason, realistically, there's no team currently left in the playoffs who's doing it. Again, this will change eventually, I imagine. Eventually, someone will have a good enough 1-2 punch. It honestly maybe should have been Boston this year, where they will just do it right from the jump and just get ahead of any questions and storylines. And we'll see it work someday. I don't like it for Carolina right now. That's not to say I think Carolina loses this series now because of it. I don't think they're out of it. They have proven to us that they are a phenomenal team. I do not like it. If I'm a Carolina fan, I hate it. If I'm a Carolina player, I hate it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But again, I don't know that locker room. There's a chance that like the guys love it. During the regular season, Freddie not playing 4 games in a row and stuff like that, there's just something, man, these guys are all such pros and they're so competitive. I'd just be so shocked if a goalie was like this. Yeah, no, I want to rotate. I would want to be in the pipe between the pipes every fucking game. And if you get yanked because you're getting lit up, fine. But I would never want to be like this. Yeah, I get it. It's a lot of games. Sit me down.
Is there anything to this, though? And I genuinely don't even know what I think. That's why I'm asking. I think starting pitcher, right, has that mentality too. Like, give me the ball, give me the ball. But sometimes there's stats on like, dude, if you have 3 days rest, you get shelled. Your shit is just not as sharp. But if you get 4 days rest, you will win. And and it's like, he's like, put me in there, game 6. I'm ready. 3 days rest. And the manager's like, no, dude, you are worse.
Yeah.
Is there anything to that where Freddie's like, I'm not saying this is happening, but Freddie's like, I want to start. And they're like, dude, you are bad if I don't give you a fucking break.
Absolutely, there's something to it. Anytime you can pull out metrics like that, that's a thing. But I just don't you think with goalies specifically, the playoffs are different.
Yeah.
It changes for literally every team. Mm-hmm. We have seen the last almost 10 years now. The tandem goalie thing is how you play in the regular season. But then also, every time we get to the playoffs, there is a starting goalie. There is a goalie for the team that plays 85 to 90% of the games in the playoffs leading to a Stanley Cup victory.
It's an interesting evolution of the league, Dan, that we're watching in real time, where it's like, hey, you have more regular season success if you tandem these guys. Mm-hmm. And then we get to the playoffs and we're still in old model of like, well, no, let your hot goalie play. But now he's not used to that as much as they used to be used to it when they were playing a lot.
Yeah.
I'll just be curious to see if tandem becomes a bigger playoff thing in the next 10
years.
That's
what I said. I could absolutely see it. But also there's possibly the argument. I mean, the whole like used to it thing, again, I don't know, man. It's such a long season, but part of me is like, get in the fucking net and play hockey.
Stop the fucking puck.
What are you talking about in this? Oh my God. Holy shit. Is this my 4th game in 8 days? I can't handle that. I just don't think these guys think that way. I think they're playing NHL Stanley Cup fucking playoff hockey. And they're like, whatever, dude. Put me in the net. Yep. I'm fine. And I think that there's also the argument that the regular season tandem shit is so when we get to the playoffs,
you're fresh,
you're rested, and you can play every
That was
game.
the whole point.
That's the whole point, dude.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, I don't like it if I'm a Carolina fan. It's not to say it's going to lead to anything bad, but I think you want a goalie who's locked in and wants to play every game.
And I think it'll be, if Ranta's healthy and he plays game 4 and plays great, even in an L, I think they ride him.
Yeah.
Or we'll see.
All right, kicking it to the saddest series left in the playoffs, our beloved Toronto Maple Leafs.
Ah, damn.
Last episode, we talked about them going down 0-2. Now they are down 0-3, and things look bleak as ever. They're headed into Game 4 down in Sunrise, Florida tomorrow night. Things don't look good. Game 1, I chalked up as they're drunk still.
Yep.
And Game 2, zero excuse for that, and they just got beat. Game 3 is the same story. Went to overtime, but you feel for the Leafs here, but I think that they are shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. And what is really problematic is the story of round 1 that led to them being so successful is, in my opinion, the reason why they are looking at a down 0-3 situation right now. We saw the big boys stepping up finally in round 1 against Tampa. That is why they advanced. And now here we are. You've lost 3 straight to Florida. You've scored 2 goals in every game. The goal scorers so far in this series for the Toronto Maple Leafs are Matty Nyes, Michael Bunting, Alex Kerfoot, Ryan O'Reilly, Lafferty, and Gustafsson. Other than Ryan O'Reilly, no one is showing up.
How many goals does Matthews have?
0.
How many goals does Marner have?
0.
How many goals does Nylander have?
0.
How many goals does Johnny Todrags have?
0.
Dude, these guys had 4 shots in the first period of a have-to-have-it game. Dude, this Maple Leafs team...
Can I tell you something worse?
Yeah.
Say that stat again.
They had 4 shots in the first period of a have-to-have-it game.
They had 1 shot in the last 5 minutes of the third period in a 2-2 game. In a have-to-have-it game.
Dude, I think the game finished with 24 shots.
Yep.
Dude, no joke, those 4 guys should have 24 shots combined themselves. The 24 shots should be coming from those 4, period, and then whatever else the Leafs want to sprinkle in.
This series is crazy for a number of reasons. We'll get into the Florida Panthers in a second because they deserve all of the credit, all the stick taps, and all the flowers. I don't care who you're playing. The star power on this Toronto Maple Leafs team and the way we saw them play against Tampa has no excuse to disappear like this. 0. And I completely agree, Chris. How in Christ's name are these guys not getting pucks on net?
And
It is just unacceptable. The fact that they had 24 shots in this game alone, dude. Like, that is so low. It's just incredible.
And I haven't tallied up their shots specifically because we saw in our live reaction the other week, Bobrovsky is very much fully on the force, badge and gun holstered. He's ready to rock.
He is $10 million.
Goalie Bob. And he's making saves on toe drags, on Nylander, on Matthews. So I'm not like these guys aren't shooting. That was game 2, but like they're involved and Bob is making big saves. And I'm not taking that away from Bob. But
I will say three 2-on-1s in the first period alone for Toronto, 1 goal. And those the ones that were saves were huge goalie Bob saves.
Yep.
So holy shit, man. And he is playing so well.
And here's what rattles me the most about Toronto, because I was super pumped for them to even this thing up, make this a series, win. You know, I want to go up there and celebrate with those guys. I want people around here to be happy. A lot of factors, right? What rattles me the most is, and I say this shit to you all the time, when you need that game, no matter what, you are better than them, I think, and you certainly have more star power. You need to pummel them. This shouldn't be this isn't Rocky 3 and you're just taking body blows against Mr. T, rope-a-dope style, and hope to win it in the last round. This is fucking Ivan Drago. Walk up there and beat them to a bloody pulp until they're dead, until you've killed them. Even I don't care who throws the towel, kill them. Yeah. And then and assert your dominance in this series. Right? But instead, they're out here going like this. Oh, we're up 1-0. Oh, Florida tied it. Oh, up 2-1. Oh, Verhaeghe fucking tied it, obviously. Yeah. Oh, we're not going to shoot in the third period. Oh, we lost in overtime. And I'm like, what is this? What is this effort?
1 shot in the last 5 minutes of the third period and overtime. 1 shot on net. It is just insane to me, and I don't understand it. And like we said, it's not all Toronto playing poorly. This Florida Panthers team is insane. We don't need to harp on it more than we did last episode, because what I said I believe to be so true. I think this team, we had a lot of great Florida Panthers fans coming out in the comments saying that they're playing a different style of game. And that's true to an extent, no doubt about it at all. But I more mean the mentality. It's like these guys know how good they are, and they're finally putting it together and clicking. Carter Verhaeghe, you mentioned.
Yeah, wow.
He is a gamer, and he had the game-winning goal in Game 1. He had the game-tying goal here in Game 3. He is breaking the backs of the Maple Leafs, and it hurts extra special because he was drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs and then traded before he even got into the pros. And now here he is 8 years later playing for the Florida Panthers, and he is killing you.
Yeah, very tough.
It's always tough, and it feels like it always goes that way too. The forecheck of this Panthers team stifled and frustrated the shit out of the Boston Bruins, and now it is devastating the Toronto Maple Leafs. These guys just beat the shit out of you. They're all over you every time you touch the puck. That's definitely a part of why they're struggling to get shots on net. But like we said, it's just not an excuse. You have to figure out what you're doing here. And my question for you is, can you bounce back from this?
This 3-0 hole?
This is... The Panthers are showing zero signs of slowing down their game. They are the most confident team in the NHL right now, in my opinion. How could you not be? I think that they are just such, and I mean this in a good way, not the bad way, they're a bunch of rats out there. They're just gnawing, clawing, and fighting for everything, and they know exactly who they are, how they play. They're such a cohesive unit. If I'm Toronto, I'm so mentally broken right now.
Yes, I think, unfortunately, and I want Toronto to win the series, I think, unfortunately, this is probably too steep of a hill. There are factors that could change. If Bob, loses whatever he's got going on right now, maybe something different happens. Toronto's mentality, I think, is a factor. Either they're going like this, either they tighten up even more now because they're like, oh my God, like we're going to get swept after all this, and then they lose. Or they play loose for once, and they're like, whatever, dude, it's fucking 3-0, get nothing else to fucking lose.
Go get one.
So I think that's a factor, and I don't know how that's going to shake out. But I think you do a little bit of that, go get this one, and then come home and win Game 5, and we're going to roll a little bit here, right? Like, these things can happen. But just the way Florida, like you said, is fighting for it out there, I don't know. 4 straight just feels like a lot. 4 straight feels like a lot against this Florida team that is going to fight you for every fucking inch on that sheet of ice. So I don't think you come back from this. On
I don't either.
that topic, I have a couple.
I was going to say, I feel like you had some talking points for me here.
The internet right now is ablaze with how humiliating a sweep would be for Toronto. The first round is completely erased now. Like, congratulations, you won the first round, then you humiliated yourself even worse. All the goodwill is gone. My question is where you shake out on that, because I think that this Florida team is obviously good. We've accepted that at this point. So it's not really shame in losing to them. Maybe you don't want to get swept, and certainly you don't want to be the best team of all time and be up 3-1 and lose to them. But losing to Florida in a 7-game series isn't the worst thing ever. And this is sad. And we told you, Leafs fans, by the way, the shit starts hurting more. So this is sad. You're going to be bummed out. You certainly didn't want to get swept. You certainly wanted more out of this season after the year you had and you finally got over the hump. But I don't know, man. I'm a little bit softer on them, where I'm like, there's positives here. Like, you beat fucking Tampa, dude. You got out of the first round and beat Tampa. And then, yes, you got popped in the second round because maybe you weren't as dialed and focused. But I'm not like, what a disaster and failure and what a bunch of losers, because now this is all for nothing. I'm not in that camp.
Okay. I respect everything you just said.
I am.
Here's where I am. We got to see what happens tomorrow night first. Let's say they get swept. This does not erase the first round victory. Absolutely not. That's a great achievement. You got, 20 years. First time. 19 years, whatever. First time you're out. That's huge. I don't think that this is humiliating. I think it is incredibly deflating. And if I'm being honest, as far as getting over the hump, I think if you get swept by this, I hate to keep saying this because I feel like some Panthers fans see it as disrespect. It's just a fact. If you get swept in the second round after finally getting out of the first round by a wild card team, I do not think you are allowed to say we got over the hump anymore, because you did not win a single game after the first round.
And the Bruins losing, the road was clear. Like, oh man.
And I got to be honest, dude. This obviously everything's different, but it looks like if the Bruins had got past, the Bruins would have beat the shit out of you too. So I think if you get swept by a wild card team when you have home ice, you have this roster getting swept in the second round. I mean, that's what happened to Florida.
Yep.
I don't think you can say like great strides by us, huge achievement by us. I'm like, look at your team.
Yeah, man, I think you're probably right.
Look at your team.
The cup is always the goal. That will never change. But it is a little tricky to me that I'm like, because, so for example, I think the Kings last year were like, just make the playoffs, and they did. And they lost in 7 to the Oilers, and that sucked, but they were like, that was a win. And I genuinely believe that the Leafs were like this. We have to get out of the first round this year.
Dude.
We have to.
Yes, agree, man. But the Wild, for example,
yeah,
have to get out of the first round. That's what I'm saying if I'm Bill Guerin.
Yeah.
And I look at that roster and I'm like, yeah, you should get out of the first round. You can get out of the first round.
Yep.
The Leafs are a fucking all-star team, dude.
Yeah,
they are, Chris.
Yeah.
Come on.
They're a little top. Well, they made some great trades. They were a little
sure.
top heavy. Yeah.
Okay, top heavy my ass, dude. You're going to tell me Edmonton's not top heavy? Look at them. Look at how far they go.
Yep.
They haven't won the cup yet, but look at how far they go. You're Toronto. You have Austin Matthews. You have Mitch Marner. You have John Tavares. You have Willie Nylander. You have Morgan Riley. You have Ryan O'Reilly. You have Luke Shen now. You have McCabe now. You, like, come on.
Yep.
You can't go like this. We got out of the first round, guys. We did it. Can you imagine Austin Matthews saying that? Being like, yeah, we got out of the first round. What an achievement.
Yeah.
You have over 100 points every single season. You guys are a wagon of a team. And yes, the monkey was on your back, but you got it off. You can't shit the bed instantly and get swept in the second round and tell me that that's an achievement. But it's not.
But like a 7-game loss would have been okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they look, and they still might. Let's see.
Yeah.
They can still fight back. If they lose in 7 to this great, scrappy Florida team, I do not think that's a failure at all. I think you guys played a crazy hard series. You won in 6 against Tampa, and then you go up and you face off this huge momentum Florida Panthers team and then you lose in 7 games, that's nothing to be ashamed of.
What if you win?
We're talking specifically about if they get swept here. If you get swept, I think it is incredibly deflating. It's not embarrassing. It's incredibly deflating. But the main thing is, I do not think that you can stand there with a huge smile on your face and say this season was a massive success compared to last year, compared to the last 19 years. I think you go like this. We got out of the first round, but with this roster, we still got swept in the second by a wildcard team after the Bruins choked and we had a clear path.
And paid a lot of money at the trade deadline.
And the Rangers who went out and got Tarasenko and Kane, they lost too.
Yeah.
That I think that you lose if you lose in 4, it is very hard. Like, I think Dubas is safe no matter what.
Me too.
But I'll tell you what, dude, if you get swept here, I'm looking at Dubas and going, don't be proud of yourself, dude. You saved your job. But this doesn't look great either.
Well, to me, Dan, it's the fucking guys we listed at the top. It's barely even been about Dubas to me. Honestly, if they lost, I said this to you before, if they lost in the first round and people go, fire Dubas, I go, fuck you, dude. He brought in Ryan O'Reilly, Shannon McCabe. What the fuck do you want him to do?
Yeah, I hear you.
It's your guys.
I put a lot on the players too. I hear you.
So to me, I'm like, has Toronto had a playoff problem for the last few years? Fuck yeah, they have. And now I'm like, why don't we start looking at these dudes? Like, honestly, if I'm Dubas,
do you have a locker room problem?
Yeah, like at this point, if I'm Dubas, I'm like, okay, which one of these 4 am I getting out? Who's gone here that I'm turning into something else that can clearly win in the playoffs? Oh,
that's another great take. If they get swept and you don't make a trade, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
If the Maple Leafs get swept, I think it is very hard to sell me as a fan. If I'm a Maple Leafs fan, it is very hard to sell me that you don't trade one of Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, or Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
One of them has to go. You cannot keep parading this group out into the playoffs if this is just going to keep
no
on
success.
happening. You can't. I think that's a fantastic take.
I'm so with you on that. Last 2 things quickly. Samsonov got hurt. They were up 1-0. He gets hurt. Did you see that play?
Yeah, it's terrible. The collision
but dude,
with Shen.
it didn't. I mean, I put a joke on Twitter that I was
By terrible, I mean like just a goalie getting hurt in the playoffs seems like the most cruel thing in the world.
I put a joke on Twitter that I was like, of course Dubas goes out and gets a defenseman, and what does he do?
He hurts his
fucking injures the goalie and ruins the season. But for real though, on the replay, dude, there's been no report. I don't know what he did. I've checked everywhere. There's nothing out.
It's bizarre.
And they're saying it's unknown if he's gonna be ready for Game 4. And it didn't look that bad. Like when I saw the play building up, I was like, oh, someone's gonna come in like 1 billion miles an hour and give him the most savage concussion I've ever seen. And then I literally thought I was watching the slow-mo replay when he came in the first time when I saw it. And I was like, wait, that was full speed, and he just kind of like spun him around.
Yeah,
and Samsonov's a tough bastard. I'm not saying he's fucking faking it. I'm just saying like.
I was about to say, sometimes those are the worst ones, dude.
Yeah.
When it's just like a weird movement, like you jerk some way, something awful can happen. But,
And here is the other thing. Because Woll came in, played okay, actually, made 18 of 20 stops. That was a tough one in OT, just got caught looking the wrong side.
I thought that was a great play, actually. I mean.
He just lost Reinert. He went here.
But it was so bang bang, dude.
Yeah.
The poise of Reinert, by the way, that puck got flipped up to the neutral zone for a change.
Dude.
Reinert knocks it down, stops at the blue line instead of dumping, holds the puck instead of passing, enters the zone, immediate rim around the boards, and then the pass back. Yep. Like that. Yeah, he lost Reinert, but like that was quick.
Yeah.
I don't put that on Wall at all.
But I was gonna say, if Sam, because sometimes when a goalie is gutting it out, that's worse. Like see Ullmark, Linus. Like I don't want my goalie. He's like, I can't really push off, but I'll do it for you boys. I got you. Because I'm like, well, you can't make a save.
Yeah.
So if Samsonov, if that was to your point, he got spun around. If that's like a groin thing or whatever, and he can't push, then you got to go Woll. But like, they're fucked. If he is hurt, they're fucked. As much shit as I've talked about Samsonov, if he can't go, this series is over.
No, you brought up to me the Linus Ullmark effect, where it's like, dude, if your goalie's hurt, you can't play.
Yeah.
If that is genuinely how, if I were a coach, if my goalie is even slightly knocked, I'm like this, you're out, dude. Like you're injured. You can't, your fundamentals have changed. And yeah, if you've lost your starting goalie for Toronto, this just looks awful.
Last thing I want to hit you with is Florida. Well, that was awful. Where do you have them now? Assuming they win. I think they're the favorite over Jersey or Carolina.
I completely disagree with that. But I disagree with that from a standpoint of I think that this is the East. With the current situation, those 3 teams I just find so
exciting
altogether. I don't think any one of them is head and shoulders above the rest. I think it's hard, frankly, to say that Carolina still isn't the top dog, even though Florida's up 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
But, dude, I mean, like, Florida is not a wild card team, even though I've been
right. Yeah, no,
like,
you're
you know
right.
What I'm saying?
Right.
Like, they are, like I said last episode, Florida is the President's Trophy winning team of last year, as in they are playing so well with so much confidence, and they are putting it together in the playoffs. I think you have three so solid teams in the East.
Fascinating to think, dude, that if the Florida wins, they probably have, of the East teams left, the best goalie in Bob and the best player in Maddie.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's
wait, the best goalie and the best player is on Florida? And they're like, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's nuts.
Okay. Vegas Oilers.
Yeah, we're watching the final seconds tick away here. Vegas has won this game 5-1.
This has been, so far, an extremely funny reactionary series for me because we picked Oilers in 6.
Mm-hmm.
Game 1 happens. Vegas looks great. And I came in here and asked you, does that change your thoughts? And you were like, no, I'm still Oilers in 6 pretty confidently. And I was like, I'm not out here changing my pick, but I'm like, whoa, dude, Vegas is real. Cassidy's going to coach them up. They can slow down the top dogs. Vegas might do this damn thing. And then in game 2, the Oilers got angry, dude. You won't like them when they're angry. They go,
Holy shit.
They go, dude, Draisaitl goal, McDavid goal, Draisaitl goal, McDavid goal is fucking 5-0.
It was insane.
And I'm like, oh shit, dude, they are the Hulk. The Oilers are the Hulk this year.
Yeah.
And like Ruffalo says, what's your secret to Cap? And he goes, I'm always fucking angry. Like this Oilers team, since the All-Star break, is always fucking angry.
Yeah.
And they are coming for you. So after game 2, coming into tonight, I was like, it might be Oilers in 5. I was wrong the other way.
And Chris Fogel scores immediately. The first 2 minutes, they're on the board, and it was like, oh boy.
And now Vegas tunes up Edmonton, and I'm like, it's Vegas in 7.
Dude.
What is going on? I have never gone back and forth harder on a series.
This was a shit kicking. McDavid and Draisaitl held off the score sheet for the first time these playoffs.
Whoa. I didn't even realize it.
This game, I think they both looked visibly frustrated. Draisaitl, couple penalties in this game as well. But, man, Fogel scores that opening goal. Immediately response from Vegas. Marchessault finally gets on the score sheet and then immediately gets another. So Marchessault's awake now with 2 goals in this game. Probably going to be alive in the series.
Anyone else in this have 3 points in this game?
Yeah. Jack Eichel did.
Ever heard of him?
In a big way.
My little golden boy.
Eichel all over the score sheet. He's got a huge goal, 2 assists. Stevenson continues to be phenomenal. Did leave the game with an injury, which is...
I think it was a puck to the face, though. I thought I saw the replay while we were going.
Yeah,
It looked like
and I believe he came back out. But, yeah, dude, you're right. This is flipping.
It's crazy.
And I'm right because, like we said, Stuart Skinner sucks right now. And
yanked again.
Yes. And I said if Stuart Skinner can even play pretty good, this Edmonton team will win the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
And you are 3 games into the second round, and Stuart Skinner has played very badly in 2 of these games. And you're down 2-1. I think Vegas continues to show really good depth in their lines, the way that they're matching up, the way that they're frustrating the top line. The power play remains an issue. Or by an issue, I mean incredibly dominant for Edmonton.
Yeah,
but,
I want to talk about that in a second, but keep going.
You know, this is such a great example of like Aiden Hill is just playing great, and your defensive core is supporting him so well. And Aiden Hill goes into this game after an injury to LB. So,
well, that was what
it's crazy. This is crazy. It's crazy how good they
I think
are.
Both goalie situations need to be addressed. Skinner has been lit up twice. Yeah. But he's played good in one game. You know, and that's the Skinner experience for the most part, I would say. Campbell came in, played pretty good in relief, just like he did the last time he came in relief. They're going to go back to Skinner for sure, but you just don't know, dude. That's a massive fucking question mark for Edmonton, and it's gonna remain that for as long as they're in the playoffs. For Vegas, when I saw morning skate lineups today and LB was starting, I was like, wow, that's let's see, 5 games against the Jets, 2, so that's 7 straight games for LB. And he's been good and a surprise, but got popped last game. I'm thinking, man, I wonder, before I saw the skate, I was like, I wonder if they go Quick. I wonder if Quick comes down and dresses. I wonder if Aiden gets a look. And they're like this, no, LB again, 8 straight games. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. And we get in, we drive in for this, and or we start watching. LB makes that save, that kick save. White Cloud has a great clear on the rebound. I didn't even see him get hurt when we were watching it in real time. They pull the replay back, and Rossois like dead on the ice. I have no idea what's happened. I haven't been on Twitter yet or anything. It looked like another weird one because I'm like, what did you hurt there? If it's another crazy situation where if you're a Vegas fan, a Vegas player, if 2 weeks ago I told you, dude, you're gonna lose Broussard in the second round,
You're fucked.
You go, I don't give a shit.
You go,
and now
what?
I'm like, no, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But then Aiden Hill, dude, played fucking
Fantastic.
against the most high-powered scoring team I've seen in a long time. He stands on his fucking head, and he's all over the place, dude. But he's making saves. But that's a huge one to keep an eye on because if you lose LB, what happens? Can Hill do this again? I don't know.
If Hill's starting game 4, that's going to be a big watch.
Yeah.
You got to watch how he plays there. Can I read a stat to you here?
Yeah.
I did this after last game, talking about some of these Vegas guys getting on the score sheet. Here's it tonight, 5-1 win. Jonathan Marchessault with his first goal of the series. White Cloud with his first goal of the series, and Haig with his first assist of the series. McNabb with his first assist of the series. Martinez with his first assist of the series, and Roy with his second assist of the series. These guys...
Deep team. Deep team.
Are there every game. It feels like there's at least 4 dudes with getting one of their first either goal or assist of the playoffs.
Yep.
So I kept saying series there. That was playoffs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They're winning all of these games, and they're just spreading the wealth so much. Like, everyone's getting involved. And it's like, that is scary, dude. When, like, all of these guys are getting on the stat sheet, you're not leaning too heavily on your top line. That when, as the opposing team, that's when you're like, fuck me, dude. They're getting it from everywhere.
Yep.
So the added ripple and the interesting element here of this series is the goalie questions for both teams.
Yeah.
But
I think
Vegas is playing very well at a good time.
And this was a good example, it felt like to me, of in game 1, obviously Vegas wins and was up pretty big, but Draisaitl still got 4. Mm-hmm. This was a good example of what this series or these matchups look like if you shut those guys down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's just hard. It's hard for Edmonton to score with them if they're not getting it from anywhere else.
Absolutely.
And go ahead.
No.
Well, that was going to lead me into the power play because you brought that up earlier. The Edmonton power play coming into tonight was like 14 for 25, I think, which is preposterous. Mm-hmm. And they were 3 for 6 in game 2, and their huge win. And Witt and Biz on Chicklets. Biz keeps being like, Vegas is the least penalized team in the league. And Witt keeps being like, well, Edmonton is too quick. It's too quick and too fast to not take penalties. I know Vegas is least penalized, but they're going to take penalties against Edmonton. And when he said that, I was like, that is wrong. Because you and I have played against guys that are legit stars in the NHL now, and I've never played anyone that was so good and so fast that I was like, I literally have to hook him. I'm like, dude, just don't hook him. Like, that's insane. But I watched 2 games, and Witt looked like he was very right. I was like, God, Vegas is all over the box, dude. Like, they're taking penalties every time I look away. If I'm Bruce Cassidy, and I think maybe he did say something tonight because they only were penalized twice, and they were both pretty late. If I'm Bruce Cassidy, I go like this, dude. It is literally like watching the NBA and helping off the 3-point line when that's the only thing that can hurt you. If you get beat in the neutral zone and you're like, oh shit, I should just slow him up to prevent the 3-on-2. I'm like this. Well, here's the thing. The power play that you're about to give them, they score on over 50% of the time.
It is highly more efficient than a 3-on-2.
Yes,
Let
they will
the 3-on-2
score
happen.
more likely on the power play than the 3-on-2. And the power play eats 2 minutes of your fucking game away. And odd man rushes one way usually mean an odd man rush the other way. Like, let the play go 3-on-2, get a fucking save, and go 2-on-1 back down their throats. Yeah. Literally stop hooking them.
Yeah.
It is fucking insane to me that this team is like willing to take 6 penalties a game against the Oilers. And again, maybe he said something. 2 penalties tonight, much cleaner game, much more disciplined game. But I promise you, Vegas, you will lose this series if you are penalized more than twice a game.
Yeah, it's a matter of chasing the game, too. If you go down, you can't panic and chase and take stupid penalties. You need to just stay 5-on-5. Absolutely. That has to be the name of your game and do exactly what you've been doing. I think in this series, the situation has changed.
The situation has changed.
I think the goalie thing, like we talked about, is just a monster factor. I think, like we have seen in the King series, Connor McDavid is still Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Leon Draisaitl is still Leon Draisaitl. I think we've got another game here in Edmonton. I think that they are like, no. We are not
Yeah.
going down 3-1.
They're angry, dude.
I imagine this is going to be 2-2 after game 4. But Vegas, you are playing fantastic. So that was an emphatic win.
I mean, we both had Oilers in 6. They got to not lose again to make that happen.
And I don't think that's going to happen.
No, you're right. Obviously, I said I'm very reactionary on this one, and I am admittedly, but Vegas looks, through 3 games, looks way better than I thought they were going to look.
Agree. It's also pretty wild that we are possibly staring down the barrel of a Vegas-Seattle Western Conference final.
Dude,
Find that on your
I didn't
fucking
even
bingo
fucking
cards.
think about that, dude.
Yeah.
The 2 expansion teams in the Western Conference final.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely insane. All right. Well, that is it for us today at the Empty Netters podcast. We will be back with you guys later this week, and we will be back in a very fun fashion while we are doing our live show down in the Dirty Jers. We're headed to Hoboken. We're going to be at Wicked Wolf in Hoboken on Thursday. We are going to be at the game tomorrow at the Prudential on Tuesday, and we'll be bopping around Jersey all Wednesday. But Thursday, guys, we're doing the live show. We're doing a watch party. We're going to be hanging out, tossing merch, doing BetMGM signups, gas and beers with all of you. So if you are in Jersey, if you're in New York and you want to come hang, come grab some free beers with us, come grab some merch, and just come grab some good times, hang out. We'll see you at Wicked Wolf on Thursday, 5 p.m. for the live show, and then watching the game together. Let's do this.
Skate hard.